Good morning and welcome to Eduscope. My name remains Dr. Iroro Stephen Izu, and on this edition of Eduscope, we're going to be looking at a topic that has direct bearing, on the economic lifeline, on the economic well-being, of the average Nigerian, the average Nigerian. So now this topic is the paradox of farmlands without food sufficiency. The paradox of farmlands without food sufficiency. Now, statistics it shows that Nigerians are among the most hungry, people in the world. Nigerians are among the most hungry, people in the world. That means they suffer, from, the syndrome of hunger, for food. Now, food insufficiency and food insecurity, threaten the average Nigerian, life. Why? Because the country has not been able to attain the level of food sufficiency that is adequate to take care of the growing, the teeming, the rising number of citizens in the country. Now, in Nigerian National Bureau of Statistics, has given a detailed, a report, that 133 million Nigerians, are living, below the poverty line. 133 million Nigerians. Do you know that the entire world population, that lives below the poverty line, they are about 659, and only Nigeria has 103, people who are living in poverty. Now, this is not even a realistic figure because more often than not when the NBS gives the statistics they doctor it, they water it down for national interest. So now, so you should be sure that if they say 133 million Nigerians are living in poverty, you should be sure that up to 160, 170, 180 million Nigerians, are actually the ones living in poverty. And this poverty is not relative poverty, it's multidimensional poverty. Multidimensional poverty. Now, but Nigeria has some of the most fertile lands, arable lands, lands that are farmland that are very ebullient, very succulent. Now, there is hardly anything you plant in Nigeria, you cultivate in Nigeria that you will not reap or harvest, high yield, harvest. Now, the country is so blessed, that ordinarily, farmers should be the richest, people in this country. Now, do you know that in America, in America, only 2% of the population, engage in agricultural activities, and they feed the entire country, feed, have a large store, of reserve, and export to other countries to feed the whole world. China, about 33, 35% of the Chinese, engage in farming. And they have taken care of their 1.4 billion people in terms of food sufficiency, and they have large reserves, and they export to other countries. Nigeria, about 70% of our citizens, engage in farming, and yet we cannot feed ourselves. 70% engage in farming, and yet we cannot feed ourselves. Why? Because of tactics, because of the modus operandi, by which our agricultural activities are done, and the ones of US and China, are done. It is not rocket science. It's not. There is no. It is not something that is magical. It's something that is attainable. It is not a utopia. For a country to attain the level of food sufficiency or food security. So why have we, been trapped in this truculent situation of hunger? Nigerians are among the most hungry people in the world. Among the most hungry people in the world. Not that we are ostentatious, not that we are people who are looking for, extravagant lifestyle or luxurious, meals, to consume. No, just the normal average meals are not even available. So now, why are we trapped in this truculent, situation of hunger? We're going to look at five factors, if time permit, that have, hindered, our harnessing of the the green vegetation, the fertile, land, the arable lands, farmland that God has blessed us with. Now, the first one we want to look at is insecurity. Then you have environmental degradation. then you have climate change, then you have poverty, then you have absence of low interest rate loans. Now, Nigerians are very hardworking people. Nigerians are not lazy. They are very hardworking people. Nigerians want to work to the extent that they become independent of anybody. They want to depend on themselves. So Nigerians, when there are jobs available, when there are activities, to engage in to make money to be self-sufficient, they want to do it. They want to do it. But when these opportunities are not available, or when the opportunities are available and there is no security of life and property, I can't go to the farm and go and be cultivating my soil and I will be killed in the farm. Next time, my children will not want to go, my neighbors will not want to go, and so you begin to dissuade, you begin to discourage people, from engaging in farming in their farmlands. Insecurity, is has ravaged, the country, has led to food insufficiency in the country, and no meaningful, thing, has been done about it because the bandits are still moving up and down. The people who the herders who are killing people in the farmland, they are still there, and no meaningful action has been taken against them. Nobody has been arrested, nobody has been prosecuted, nobody has been imprisoned. Even their sponsors, their patrons, and their matrons, they are moving freely. So security of lives and property is very key to guarantee the safety, of the farmers. Farmers are the real wealth creators, and they should be protected. They should be defended. They should be cared for. These are the people that feed us. Then why are we killing them? Why are people bent on killing farmers in the farmlands? Because you want your cattle, you want your own sheep and goats, to feed on other people's labor. This must stop in this country. And this is a clarion call to the Tinubu's administration to begin to rejig, you know, this forest management, farm settlement, farmland, the rural areas must be well secured, not just the urban centers. If Abuja city is secured, if Port Harcourt city is secured, if Lagos city is secured, what about those who are living in the rural areas, who are closer, to the farmlands, to the bushes, to the forests, who feed us? Because it's from their labor, their effort that we get our daily bread. So the farmers must be protected. Insecurity is the number one inhibitor, to food sufficiency in Nigeria, and that must be dealt with. The second factor is environmental degradation. The activities of companies, multinational oil companies, have contributed immensely, to pulverizing, and damaging, the environment, especially in the Niger Delta area. Gas flaring still goes on. I was traveling one day, across the Niger Delta, and I came to a particular spot where they are flaring gas. The heat, even on the highway, far away from the place they are flaring the gas, the heat was so scorching. This is not humanity. This is not living. The government must do something about, stopping gas flaring in Nigeria, and ensuring that environmental degradation or environmentally degraded, lands, are reclaimed, are cleaned up, and reclaimed. People can no longer farm, they can no longer fish, they can no longer hunt for games in the forest because of what? Environmental degradation. If the government is serious about food sufficiency and food security, the government must tackle the issue of environmental degradation and begin to reverse this trend and hold, people responsible and hold people accountable, for this misbehavior. Now, the third factor we're going to look at is the issue of climate change. Climate change has become a global, dilemma facing the entire world, a global danger facing the entire world. Nigeria must, on its own, contribute, to reversing global warming by ensuring that the regulatory agencies in in Nigeria who are regulating the activities of the multinational oil companies, the gas company and so on and so forth, who are contributing to the emission of gaseous hazardous substances into the atmosphere, that their activities are curtailed. They must be regulated so that we will not die, so that the environment will not kill us. Because if we endanger the environment, and contaminate the environment, by releasing gaseous substances into the environment or chemical substances that are hazardous, we are indirectly killing ourselves because everything we eat is from the environment. So why do we want to damage it? We must engage in sustainable, agriculture, sustainable, industrialization, sustainable, occupation in Nigeria, so that we can live a better life, a good life. Now, the fourth factor we're going to look at is the factor of poverty. Poverty. People are very poor, and so because they are poor, they cannot engage in real farming, mechanized farming. We do subsistence farming in Nigeria. Who does that this time around? You can't use necessary labor, to produce surplus products. You use surplus labor to produce surplus, products. And for you to have surplus labor in producing surplus and product, you must have machines. The farm lands must be mechanized. So, but you need money to do this, and that brings us to the fifth factor, which is absence of a low interest loans. The government will set aside, loans, for farmers. Farmers are the food producers, for God's sake. How can you attain food security without, having farmers who are well, mobilized with loans that are payable? Not loans that are not payable. There are loans because of the interest rate. They cannot be paid back. They become bad debts. They become debt traps. That should not be it. The commercial banks, are employed, to also come in, to ensure that farmers, are encouraged. Real farmers, fertilizer seedlings should go to the real farmers, not for political compensation or to squash political points. Food sufficiency is possible to attain. Food sufficiency is possible to attain. And until we do that, people will remain hungry. And when people are hungry, they become angry. And when they are angry, it's already a time bomb waiting, to go off. We do not want that to happen in this country. Countries are saving, are not only feeding themselves, they are also saving food for the rainy days. I must tell you that a third world war can break at any time. And when there is war, you don't go to farm again. You eat what you have saved. What have we reserved? What do we have in our reserves? In Nigeria. Do we even have reserves in Nigeria? Where we reserve, where the government deliberately buy things from the farmers and reserve them, preserve them, for eventuality of a time of emergency. We must wake up the reality, of ensuring that our farmers are safe, our farmlands, are safe, our rural areas are safe. We must begin to talk about, encouraging the establishment of local government police, of state government of state police, of local police, of rangers everywhere to ensure that people's lives are safe. The paradox of farmlands, without food sufficiency. I believe that Nigeria can attain food sufficiency. I believe that with our contributions in one way or the other, that we can attain food sufficiency. And when we can, once we can feed ourselves, we have solved almost half of our problem because people cannot go about doing meaningful things, with their lives. Please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel. My name remains Dr. Iroro Stephen Izu. I'm a university lecturer. Thank you.